Alrighty, welcome everybody. Thank you all for being here. I would like to begin tonight by first inviting us all to please put your phone on silence. It's so wonderful to see this room filled with so many familiar faces and new ones, students, faculty, staff, some local friends, even some alumni I spotted in the crowd, all coming together for something truly special. Where were you today, October 28th, 2 years ago? Some of us were at home, some others maybe at school, maybe on vacation. Moran, Stela, Yanai was imprisoned deep inside Gaza, cut away from the rest of the world, enduring horrific conditions at the hands of barbaric captors. Tonight, we have the privilege of hearing from Moran, whose story has touched hearts around the world, a story of faith, resilience, and the unbreakable Jewish spirit. We gather here at a remarkable time. After so many difficult months, the war in Israel has finally come to an end. We thank God for every soldier who returned home, and we remember those who didn't. We give thanks for all the living hostages who have been released and the too many whose return we still await to be buried in our ancestral homeland, and of course, the deceased hostages who've already been returned. But even though the war is over, the fight isn't over. We still face a different kind of battle. The fight against anti-Semitism, against indifference, against the forces that try to silence Jewish pride and Jewish identity. And while we still carry the weight of loss and the memories of what our people endured, as well as the uncertainty for what is yet to come, we also carry something else, a deep sense of pride, of unity, and purpose. Every time a Jewish student stands tall and proud, every time we light a candle, wear a Magen David, a Star of David, or show up for each other, that is how we fight back, and that's how we win. In every corner of the world, Jews stood together, praying, giving, doing, showing up. And now, as we move into this new chapter, the question before us is, what do we do with this unity? How do we harness this tremendous energy that has accumulated over the last 2 years? How do we make sure that it doesn't fade once the headlines change? The foremost Jewish leader of the last century, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, often taught that every challenge a person faces is not meant to break him or her, but to reveal the strength that was hidden within that person all along. The past 24 months have revealed just that, the strength, the courage, and the faith of our people. From the brave IDF soldiers on the front lines, to the millions around the world who have increased in acts of goodness and kindness, doing just one more mitzvah, to those like Moran who faced unimaginable darkness and still emerged with light. Wherever one turned, we saw the power of faith, of courage, and of unity. We saw how, when tested, the Jewish soul doesn't collapse, it shines brighter. We've seen all the spark of the divine within every person. And that spark is what binds us, whether we're here in Elon, in Jerusalem, or anywhere in between. Moran's story is not just one of survival, it's a story of the soul, of how the Jewish heart can be wounded but never broken. And that's what tonight is about. Remembering that no matter what happens around us, the light inside of us, the light of Torah, of Am Yisrael, of our shared purpose can never be extinguished. When she was taken captive on October 7th, the world seemed to go dark. But when Moran returned home, she didn't just bring back her own life, she brought back hope, joy, and a light that the world needs to see. So tonight isn't only about hearing a story, it's about being reminded who we are. Let us take the unity, the courage, and the faith we've felt for the past 2 years and turn it into something lasting, into light, into action. It's about the Jewish vision of a world redeemed, where every act of goodness and kindness brings us one step closer to a peace that is not just the end of the war, but the beginning of something eternal, the peace that comes from divine purpose. Let us open our hearts, be inspired, and carry that inspiration forward on our campus, in our homes, and in our lives. I'd like to thank the partners who've helped us make this wonderful opportunity possible, and those are ZOA, Israel on Campus Coalition, Stand With Us, and Elon Hillel. And most importantly, a huge shout out to the greatest student leaders, the members of the Chabad who worked hard to bring us this amazing event: Abby Lubaton, Cooper Walsh, Talia Sheckman, Casey Baldwin, Ryan James, Isabel Silverstein, Alyssa Goldstein, Ariel Scher, Ryan James, Yael Schechter, Jackie Velicky, Max Kogan, Naomi Dolgoff, Harlan Auerbach, and Luke Silpe. Yes, well-deserved applause for them. Thank you. So now, before we welcome Moran up here, I'd like to call upon two members of the Chabad, our student presidents, Abby Lubaton and Cooper Walsh, to lead us in the recital of a chapter of Psalms in memory of our fallen brothers and sisters for true everlasting peace in the land of Israel and everywhere. Abby and Cooper.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abby. I'm one of the co-presidents of Chabad here at Elon.
Hi, I'm Cooper. I'm the other co-president. Thank you all for being here tonight. We're truly honored to welcome Moran, Stela, Yanai, who was held hostage in Gaza and is here with us tonight to share her story. Her courage and strength are incredible, and we're so grateful she's willing to share her story with us. A song of David: The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake.
Even when I walk through the valley of darkness, I'll fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for a length of days.
Thank you.
We are so grateful to have Moran, Stela, and I here with us tonight. Please give your attention to the screen.
Moran, she's 40 years old, a young spirit, a positive person who loves to spread lots of love and peace around her. She loves to have people, she loves animals.
It's very important for Moran to fight for animals. Her animals are waiting for her at home, and I'm sure she's worried about them. Moran is a great artist. In the past year, we discovered so many talents that my sister had and have. Her biggest achievement was at this festival, at this party. She prepared a beautiful table full of jewelries, and she was very proud, and she is still very proud.
On Saturday morning, she managed to talk to my parents on the phone, telling them that they are being attacked and that people are running after them, and they had to run away, she and her friends. Last call that we got from Moran was about 8:30 in the morning. She's telling that they are being running from the terrorists and running away from the attackers, and that she's losing her battery. That's the last time that we heard from Moran. Later on, we tried to understand what happened since then, and we managed to find few friends that were with her that managed to come back home. They told us that they were on the run. During that, they've been ambushed by a few times, and finally they had to split up. And the point of the split, that's the last point that we know that Moran has been there. Later on, many friends and family would try to find any clue on the social networks and on the internet, trying to figure out what happened there. And we found a clip which shows that Moran been kidnapped. And that's it. That's the last evidence we never heard from her since. So
Since then.
we're looking for more. We try to look for more clues, and that's the only thing that we know so far.
I believe in you, and I believe in your strength, and I believe in the world, and I believe that I will see you soon.
So during Moran's presentation, you're welcome to submit questions. You can DM us on the Instagram handle above. If you don't have Instagram and you want to submit a question, first of all, I'm impressed that you don't have Instagram, but ask a friend to submit it on your behalf. And time permitting, Moran will take several questions from the crowd afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, Moran, Stela, Yanai.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So first of all, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know that you are thanking me for coming here, but I thank you for the opportunity to come to every place I can to share our story, which is not a story, like you said. It's much, much more than that. So hi, everyone, again. I always start with this video to show that this is not just a one-person story. This is my sister, my brother, my mother, my father, and like us, so many other families still till today in Israel. I have some titles in life. I am a daughter, I am a sister, I am a mother to a dog and a cat. I'm an artist, I'm a speaker, I can be many things. But in my basics, I'm a human being. And my story starts way, way before October 7th. It starts 4 to 5 years before it, and it starts in a day which I had no purpose, no meaning. I couldn't understand why I wake up every morning, why do I do what I do every day. And I felt that must be a better way to live this life, this better version of myself that I'm always dreaming about. And I started to investigate myself. For 4 years, I started to learn every single tool that I could to take me a step ahead to become that better version that I want to be. So many things that I learned made me become this person that I am today. The last year, right before the Nova, I was fired from my grown-up job. And I decided that this is the best opportunity for me to go out to the world, fulfill my dream, because I have my confidence. On January 2023, I started this idea of who I am going to be the next year. And I took some challenges during the way. The last challenge that I took was September 2023. It was right after I became 40 years old, and I decided that the last challenge I need to take to start this journey that I want, I called it surrendering to the unknown, giving myself to the way, trusting and committing to see all the signs during the way. That was a beautiful journey. I bought myself a plane ticket to Thailand. I told myself that I'm going by myself. I don't close no hotels. I don't book with no friends. I don't know how the way will look like. I just know that I'm trusting the way. I'm taking my last journey. Since I took the first step in the airport, I just met a chain of people. Each one introduced me to the next one, and with each one, I'm closing another circle with myself. One of those people was a 22 years old girl, and she was a feisty businesswoman. So before she asked me my name, she asked me, "Where are your jewelries from?" And I smiled to her. I said, "It's mine." She asked, "Do you have a shop? Do you have a website?" I said, "No, I'm just starting." Well, she said, "What's your name?" I said, "My name is Moran Stela." She said, "I have the best opportunity for you. I'm going to introduce you to the Nova family. And there is a festival coming up in 3 weeks. 3,000, 4,000 people. That will be your best start." I smiled at her because I like to imagine things. But I told her this is impossible. 4,000 people. I'm assembling everything by hand. I'm making one out of each piece of a jewelry that I'm designing because I trust in that it belongs to one person and one person only. So it's impossible. She smiled to me, and then I said, you know what? Okay. Well, in my journey, I learned that all the impossible is very much possible if I'll just choose to. So I came back to the country. I came back to Israel. I worked day and night for 3 weeks. I didn't stop. And by the time that I arrived to October 6th, on this Friday, I came with two situations going on. On one hand, I see my shop, my logo, my shop, everything is designed, everything is ready to go. I made it. I was proud. On the other hand, I'm very, very spiritual. And I really am aware to everything that I feel. So I don't work on Friday and Saturday. And funny fact, that was my first festival to go. So by the time that I needed to leave the house, I looked at my friend and I said, let's stay home. I have too much resistance. I have too many feelings that I can't explain. Let's stay home. And she smiled at me. She said, I'm excited, and let's go. I packed everything. We went on the car. We drove to the party. And in my training, I learned that wherever I put my focus on, that's what will grow. So I didn't see all the Nova premises. I didn't see that there is a tent area. I didn't see that there is a dance floor. I didn't see anything. I saw my shop. I was proud at my shop. Well, another hour and another hour went by. Nothing happened. Nobody came to the market, which was weird because there were many people in the party. When the producer came, they looked at my shop. They said, we don't think you have enough merchandise till the end of the party. And I smiled. I said, okay, I'm going to sell everything. Well, another hour and another hour passed by. Well, nothing happened. I was confused. And those anxiety, this fear that I had that I couldn't explain, it was just increasing and getting bigger. And every time I have an answer or a feeling, not an answer, but a feeling that I cannot give an answer to, I just look up to the sky. Well, I looked up and I said, hi, my friend. I know you're not working on Friday and Saturday, but if you can send me any clarification, any sign, anything that can explain what I feel right now, that would be amazing. I received a physical note, and I was confused. So before I saw the person, I opened the note, and it was saying, there is logic in the craziness, and there is no life without giving life, the scale of life. So I was even more confused. When I looked up, I see this old lady, 66 years old lady. She comes with her children. She says she gets messages. She writes them on little notes. She picks people randomly in all the parties she goes to, and she cannot explain why. Well, I got my note, and I asked her, is this supposed to make me feel better? She didn't say anything. She just smiled and kept on going. So I was left with this confusion, and again, it was increasing and getting bigger. With another hour and another hour passed by. So at one point, I sent my friend to sleep. I found all the piece of fabrics that I brought with me. I put it on me because I was freezing. I sat down on a chair. I watched it, everybody, and I drank tea. And I waited. I just waited to go home. At 6 a.m. in the morning, and everybody speaks about that hour specifically, there was this beautiful sunrise came up. Everybody speaks about that moment because at that moment you see the people's faces. You see how happy they are. And then you see that there is no judgment. You see the difference between the people. You see young people, you see old people, you see different occupation, different nationalities, different cultures, but all of them at the same point on the same frequency. And I was happy, I was grateful. I said again, you know what, nothing happened tonight. I didn't sell even one piece. But thank you for letting me be here in this moment, see this community, see this pure freedom, happiness, joy. 29 minutes after that beautiful moment, starts with 2 rockets in the sky, and everybody speaks about those 2 rockets. Because some of the people thought it's fireworks, but I understood really fast what is happening. But you need to understand that we are good Israelis, okay? We see 2 rockets in the sky, that's nothing. We see 4, that's nothing. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, still nothing. But then 20 minutes go by, and 30 minutes go by, and 40 minutes go by, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop till the point that we look up to the sky, we see thousands of rockets, and it doesn't stop. Against what everybody else did, which is running away, we brought the cars back into the premises because we are the vendors. We need to pack up everything. We didn't think that, we thought it will be end really soon. We stayed there for 2 hours. We were completely exposed to all directions. I served the army 23 years ago. I served in Givati, and I served during the war of Chomat Magen. So I served in Gaza, basically. And I know how to recognize what I hear. So I hear the sounds that it's not our fight. We don't fight in that way. And I hear grenades, I hear RPGs. I know to tell the difference between an M16 and a Kalach, and I hear the difference. I hear the automatic weapons, and we are not allowed to shoot in automatic weapons. I hear everything. But I keep blocking it from my head. It's not really happening, not to me. At one point, my friend looked at me and he said, when I give you the cue, you and your friend, you jump into the car, you drive as fast as possible. I smiled at him. Didn't really thought it would come. But then he gave me that cue, and we needed to jump into the car and drive as fast as possible, but nobody taught us how to drive as fast as possible between screaming and falling people. And we had to ditch the car after a minute and a half and start running by foot. I always like to say we really invested on trying to save our life for 5 hours. We really put an effort of trying to understand what is happening, how to survive, where to hide, what to do. But every turn we took, we've been ambushed, and every place we went, we were being ambushed. And we tried to run by foot, we tried to run with somebody stranger that picked us up in a car. We tried everything. Till the point we got the police over the phone. Now, the police got 45,000 calls at that day. So some of the police officers that answered that phone didn't know how the area really looks like. They gave us the command to get off the cars, go hide in the trees. We were physically in the middle of a 400 acre of a potato field. No trees. Well, I looked at the driver and I said, this is a bad idea. He said, he was like jumping from the car already. I was in severe panic attacks till that point, severe physical panic attacks, and I really tried to calm down. But when you don't understand what is really happening, your head, your brain doesn't get the answers of what is happening, doesn't give you the right reaction to the situation. So I decided to do something because I had 3% of a battery in my phone. I called my dad. I took the entire air that I could, and I said really calmly, Dad, this is not a joke. We're being shot at. We need to get off the cars. We need to go hide in the trees. He asked me, what? I repeated it again. He didn't understand. I didn't want to shock him, so I said, I'm going to talk to you later. Everything is okay. My mother, she's a whole different story. She's Moroccan, and I'm afraid of her sometimes, especially when I don't have a good answer to give. Well, she called me. I didn't want to answer the phone. And I texted her, I don't have battery, I love you. But then I deleted the I love you part because I'm not saying goodbye, right? I don't have nothing to say goodbye to. And that's the last words my parents was left with. Talk to you later. I don't have a battery. And we really had a very, very big fight 2 days before that. That's the last words my mother was left with. We ditched the car. We found a tree. We sat down in that tree, 5 people really cleaning on each other, trusting that the person standing next to me knows how to deal with this situation. But again, nobody gave us tools to be hopeless. So it took me a second to understand that this is my situation only, and I need to protect myself and my friend because this is my responsibility. I brought her. Till that point, it was just artillery sound. From that point on, like my brother said, we heard screaming in Arabic coming towards us. Some of us kept on running straight. Some of us just lay on the ground, trusting that we are hiding. Well, it took me 1 second to understand that we are completely exposed, but it's a very fragile area. You can't move. You can't make a sound because everything is dry leaves, dry trees. So everything make noises. There was silent second, and then we heard cuckoo, like you surprise somebody. We looked up, we see a bunch of terrorists standing on top of that mountain, screaming, God is great, Allahu Akbar, running towards us. We can't explain that moment. All 5 of us cannot explain that moment because we were really, really close to each other. Some of them managed to run. I was the only one that was caught. The terrorist was jumping behind me, and I had to jump, and I really thought that I'm landing on straight ground, but it was a small pit. I was injured, and like I'm saying it for half a second now, but everything goes in this space, very fast. Whatever reacted for me, and I cannot explain it till today, was something from inside. I call it that voice. I don't know how to explain it. But it screamed in my head, jump and react. And when the terrorist was about to beat me up, I screamed, please don't kill me, I'm an Arab. I had an Arabic necklace on my neck. I got it as a present from my Egyptian supplier, my jewelry supplier, a month before, and I was polite. He said, you have to wear it. I said, okay. And I planned in my head that a day after I'm gonna take it off. Just being polite. Something made me leave it on my neck for a month. And my mother, she had a different agenda also, like on the evening of the holiday, she asked me to take it off. And I told her, Mom, there's things that I cannot explain. I need to leave it just a little bit longer, and then I promise I will take it off. I grew up, I'm half Egyptian, half Moroccan. I grew up in a house where my grandmother used to speak to me Arabic till I was 17. It's not a foreign language. I grew up in a mixed city in south of Israel where I have Arab neighbors, where I have Arab colleagues, when I have Arabs in my school, in my neighborhood, in every place I go to. And it's fine. We learned how to live together. But it's not a foreign language to me. When the terrorist was about to beat me up again, I told him that I'm Arab and my name is Stela and please don't kill me. I don't know how, but there was 2 terrorists, and that's the video that you saw a minute ago. And I managed to be released from that situation. I was caught 3 times, eventually. That twice, that necklace saved me. On the second time, it was 10 Hamas terrorists. And I did the thing that I did in the first time. I pretended to be Arab. I showed that necklace. used tons of manipulation, 5 words in Arabic that I have in my vocabulary. Lots of faith. Managed to be released from that situation as well. Then I found myself in the middle of that potato field again. And there was another quiet second. And I did the one thing that we were not allowed to do at that day. I screamed really loud and I called to the IDF, I called to the army. And then the wrong group heard me. Because when I look to my back, a mile away, I see 13 Hamas terrorists. And I can count them because I have the time. Now I don't have my necklace anymore. I gave it as a present, as a bribe. Something told me in my head, let go, this is happening. And I remember I answered it loudly, what is happening? What should I let go to? I can see them running towards me. Have nowhere to hide. I just sat on the ground and waited. When they came, no crying, no resistance. It was very, very much violent. It was very much physical. No talking. They started to drag me, and while they're dragging me by foot, I can see a bunch of them on my left side, I can see a bunch of them on my right side. But there is one person that's taking a video of this whole occasion. And I see myself for a second, I see my face. From that point on, I cannot even explain what went in my head. It was quiet. And I had a sentence repeating in my head. Let go, do not resist, and I promise you everything will be okay. I remembered in that second that I took that challenge, surrendering to the unknown in the most positive way. It's happening. One of the terrorists, he decided to rip off all of my jewelries, and he took a lot of them. But when he reached to my left hand, he accidentally carved, when he cut off the bracelet, he accidentally carved the first letter of God's name on my hand, and I have the scar till today. Watching it, red, not bleeding, really clear. That sentence just became louder in my head. Do not resist, give in, I promise you everything will be okay. Now from that point on, I don't have any kind words to say it, because in my head, that was this worst case scenario list opening. And I was starting to check one after another. It's like my worst fears in life happening one after another. And I prayed for somebody will find me before they will find a car, but then they found a car. Now we are 11 people inside that car driving towards Gaza. I didn't want to see what is happening and I closed my eyes. But the terrorist, he was really happy. He wanted to see me. He wanted to see my face. I saw that entrance to Gaza. I saw 100% of civilians celebrating as if I'm the biggest prize they got in their life. And I prayed in my head that this car will not stop in the middle of that crowd. And I really, really prayed in my head that if it do, then finish up really fast so I will not feel anything. That car stopped in the middle of the crowd and the door opened. And I was laying on the back seat on the terrorists with my legs pointed to the door. When they opened the door, I felt people trying to pull me out, and I felt I will not extend. But speaking about resilience, and I learned that word only after I came out from captivity. But I had no way to protect myself. But I had my nails. And I felt in my head, I'm gonna stuck them on the person that I was sitting on. I will do it really hard. If somebody will try to pull me out again, I will use him as a human weight. So I probably hurt him too much, because he screamed, Khalas, Shabab Arab, which means an Arab child. Somebody closed the door, somebody went into the driver's seat, and I was saved from that situation. I know it's very twisted to say saved when I'm in the middle of Gaza. But I had no way but to count all the miracles that happened to me that day, that guard that I had over my head that day, making me choose the right calls to survive. if it was the officer at the Nova, and I'm not arguing with officers, she asked me to go with her to one of the death shelters, and I didn't agree. We argued, and she left me, and not longer after she was murdered. Two of my friends, they really wanted to go to hide under the stage or in the bar, which is very, very good hidden places, but I resisted. So I was gripping, holding on any miracle that happened to me at that day, because there is a reason that I'm still alive. They pulled me into the hospital, and from that point on, this is the end of October 7th for me. This is the start of the journey in Gaza. That's two different events for me. They pulled me into the hospital, threw me on an iron bed. It was a very, very tiny room with very many people inside of it. And I saw one person is taking off my shoes, and one person is taking off the rest of the things from my pockets, and one person is taking the rest of the jewelry that I had on my ears. But then I saw one person, one terrorist, putting a cast on my leg. So I said in my head, I'm not dead yet. I still have time. Remember everything. They covered me with a sheet, and now we go to the first house. Coming into the first house, throwing me on a mattress, taking the sheet off. There is an investigator in front of my eyes, and I allowed myself to be hysterical. I allowed myself to cry at that second. And that investigator, he lost his patience at one point, and he kept repeating on the question of, where do you serve? Again and again and again. I couldn't understand why he was asking me that question, until he grabbed my pants, he shook them from side to side. I looked down and I stopped to cry really fast. I chose to wear green army look-alike uniform, but the exact color and the exact shape as an army uniform. And I had army boots on me, and that's the deal. But I really, really believed that somebody made a mistake, because I'm a civilian, right? It was like that for 2 hours until they entered the room, a young girl, 18 years old. And I see in the crowd that I can see here, 18 years old. She was barefoot in her pajama. I saw bright hair, I saw bright eyes. I understood immediately she's not Arab and she's not from the party. But we were not allowed to speak for 3 days. We had to sleep in a room with 4 other terrorists for 24/7, and we were not allowed to speak. But I said in my head at that moment, I said a twisted thank you, because she's 18 years old, because I have to protect her now. And because I have to protect her, I have to protect myself first of all. So I said thank you for giving me a motive to survive another day. From this point on, I'm going to sum up the physical part really fast, because that was not the issue in my case. I broke both of my legs. Eventually, I broke it in many places. I had lice on my head, on my body, in my chest, in every place you can think of, and not the amount that you know. I was allergic to every single one of them. I lost 8 kilos for my weight, and I'm a skinny person. In 54 days, that's a lot. I lost half of my hearing. I literally need to wear hearing devices, but I don't like it, because sometimes it's really nice not to listen to everything. Obviously, I lost my business completely. I lost my freedom. I lost even my name, because I was not allowed to use it anymore. It's all materials. That's nothing. That's nothing compared to the real war that I need to run against them every single day. So there is one particular moment during my entire captivity that really explained how I survived this whole matter. But it's built from many fractures of stories that I will share some of them. To understand who I was in the situation, I want you to picture that Jewish girl. I don't know if you heard stories about the Holocaust, that some of them went to play with the Germans or to entertain them just to get information, food, water, medicine, whatever they could, to bring back into the people that were helping or guarding on. So that was me. So I was trying to protect the girl that was with me, and after 10 days, we found her mother. After using tons of manipulation, now I need to guard them both because they didn't know what happened to the rest of their families, and they were in a bad situation mentally. Taking this responsibility means that everything went through me. All the reactions, all the outcomes, everything. So one day I had to play cards with them for 14 hours straight. No food, no water, mocking me, laughing about me. I don't care. But I'm still Moroccan at the end of the day. It's not just my mother. So I said something wrong. And in a second, in a fracture of a moment, there is a gun pointed to my head. That was my everyday. Every day he threatened to kill me in every single way you can think, imagine on. But in that day, he didn't shoot. I survived another day. Now, during my day, I used to say a lot of moderni, thank you. A lot of it, tons of it, because it's not obvious. We were completely exposed to all the bombings. So we were on the 6th floor most of the time. And I don't know if you heard the stories, but at the beginning, most of the hostages that didn't survive were on top. We were completely exposed to all the bombings. We were under missile launchers. They literally used us as human shields. And you just need to pray that this Russian roulette will not fall on your head. We're talking about 200, 300 bombs every single day. So it's not obvious that I woke up today. Thank you for that. It's not obvious that I survived a half a day because we don't know what happened outside. We don't see the television, we don't hear the radio, but it affects the reaction on us every single time. So that's how we know if something bad happening. It's not obvious that we survived the nights, but I'm sure that I got enough food and water to survive another day. If I have to sum up my entire captivity, it's faith, values, and mind over body. On a second fracture of a story, that was a morning that I was a little bit optimistic, and I recognized a smell coming up from the kitchen. I prayed that it's coming to our room. When he entered the room, I recognized the dish in a second. It's an Egyptian dish. And I smiled because all I saw in my head was mineral, vitamins, iron, everything that can help us survive another day. It's not really tasty, but it's really healthy. There are 2 other girls, they didn't want to touch it because it looks bad. Well, there is no comfort in captivity, so I ate everything. And I smiled for a second because I was full, I was happy. 2 hours later, I had a severe food poisoning because the cans that they gave me to eat was expired. And I always say that the shame gives us the right amount to deal with the situation if you have the ability or not. And I was the only one that ate that can. And I was happy that at least it's just me and not all 3 of us. You need to understand that we were in a situation of a lack of hygiene in the most severe way you can imagine. Somebody coughed now, somebody sneezed before, we can die from that. That's how much it was bad. At the end of that day, I had 180 pulls. It means that I couldn't move. I couldn't stand anymore. They literally needed to help me get up. I had 20 milliliters of salty water, budget for 2 days. It means you need to calculate the amount of water you drink, that it will be enough for 2 days. But my body kept rejecting it, so I didn't want to waste it. I kept it aside. Like I said before, I said a lot of times a day, thank you, but at that moment I couldn't even think. And I fell asleep. When I woke up in the morning, I was shocked. I couldn't believe I survived another night, but I couldn't move anymore. And when the terrorists entered the room, he had a small radio. They used to play with the station, and sometimes they used to pick up an Israeli station. But just for a second or two before he switched it to an Arab. How many people are you speaking Hebrew, understanding Hebrew? Okay, so I'll say it one time in Hebrew and then I'll repeat it in English. He was leaning on top of me to see if I'm still breathing, played with his radio, and then he picked up an Israeli station. And he stopped in the exact part of Shema Yisrael Elohai, Ata Kol Yachol, a part of a song. It means, God, you are great, you can do everything. That's a part of an Israeli song. And the other hostage, she smiled at me and she pointed at me. She said, that's for you have to get up. And I really tried to repeat that song in my head, and I didn't remember how it ends. But then I remember it. It ends with, because I don't have power anymore. I know what is mantra means and what it means to repeat it to yourself like words that will affect your body physically. So I changed the words because I have the entire power in the world. And I repeated it again and again and again. And I don't know how, by the end of that day, I managed to drink a little bit, I managed to eat a little bit, and I survived another day. Which means for me, I had one more miracle. On my less small story, that was not an optimistic morning. When I woke up that morning, I couldn't say my thank you. I said, I still believe in you, but today I'm so angry. Today I'm gonna ask all the why questions. Why am I here? Why is it still happening? Why in this 2023 we're still dealing with this situation? Aren't people bored to fight? It's too much energy. Well, in my study, I also learned that why doesn't get you anywhere. What for can help you. I remember that I had one thing left in a day that I was in physical pain, that I had no food, I was frustrated. I remember that I have my imagination. I know how to do guided imagination. I closed my eyes and I went home. It was Friday, so I imagined the Kiddush. And I remind you that my mother is Moroccan. That's a lot of food, tons of colors, lots of smells. I remembered all the senses. In our physical body, when you close your eyes and you remember and you manage to raise up all the senses that happened in that memory, your physical body doesn't know to tell the difference between imagination and reality. Then it releases serotonin and endorphin and whatever you need to that situation. So I felt like I'm at home. I heard the Kiddush. I remember how the fight after the Kiddush sounded like. I remember how the hug feels like. I remember everything. So I was happy, I was smiling. I didn't feel anything for a second. And then I heard my name repeatedly again and again and again, and I said to myself, open your eyes. It's a terrorist. I open my eyes, I see Abu Hamza, tiny little Arab, smiling, holding a plate, 30 grams of halva, half a dry pita. I don't have water, and I really don't like halva. But I eat it anyways, right? When he left the room, I returned to that mindset of being frustrated. And I don't know how to tell you, but in captivity, we're not allowed to express emotions. We're not allowed to cry. We're not allowed to miss. We're not allowed to do thinking, nothing. I cried, and it was a small cry, but it was not enough for me. And I did something that made them run back into the room, taking the food away, punish me, and shoving me back to the mattress to go to sleep. When they did that, I saw this first letter, God name, above my head on the wall, and I smiled. Because I smiled, they couldn't understand my reaction, and they left the room. But I really felt that I lost it. That's why I smiled. When the other hostage came, she said she see it too. There is no coincidence in life. And when you're in a closed room with two closed windows, there is a lot of things you can see beyond your imagination if you just choose to see it. So we felt guarded every single morning, every single moment. That big story I was talking about before, something happened again, I survived again, another miracle to my list again. I smiled again. I ran to the bathroom. We have only 1 minute inside before somebody's coming in to check what we're doing. I look up to the ceiling, I pictured the sky, I closed my eyes, and I said, you know what? I understand everything now. I surrender in the most positive way that you can even picture or imagine. There is this Schrödinger theory that says that we are dead and alive at the same moment. There are two realities at the same time. I said, whatever you choose for me, for my destiny, I'm fine with it. I accept it. And from this point on, I will try to find the meaning in every single day till the day that I will go back home, if you choose to. I accept it. And then I promise I will spread that faith in any place I go, if you'll choose to, and I'll accept it. Eventually, on day 49, the terrorists ran into the room. They told us to go on our costumes, that we are leaving and going home. I had a bad hunch. I was not happy. The two other girls was very happy. And then the terrorist came to me. He took the cast off. He gave me a pair of heels. He looked at me and he smiled and he said, put the heels on. We're going. And I told him that I can't go on heels and go down 6 floors by foot. But he gave me the face, it's either that or you're done. I smiled, I said, I'll find a way. I put the heels on, and that's mind over body. Because physically, the parts that I broke my leg couldn't do that move. But when you have the strength to survive, then our body is the best machine you can think of. I managed to go down 6 floors by foot. I was not allowed to limp, and I was not allowed to fall. I walked for another hour and a half. And when we get to the exchange point, something weird happened. It felt like they're arguing with each other. And then I felt somebody's pulling my shirt from the back, whispering in my ear, not you, not now. I watched my 2 friends that I was with for 49 days being released back home, and I being dragged back into Gaza. I cannot even explain to you how every single moment that happened feels like, okay, this is the end. They dragged me into an abandoned house, and after they argued for 2 hours, they decided to take me to another hostage's house. In that house, I met Itai Svirsky, which is a name that I promised to take with me to every place I go to. That was the only days, those 4 days was the only time that I let go, that I let somebody else guard me. I was too afraid. Do you remember that shoulder pants that I was speaking about before? Well, that story became really big in time. After investigation, they decided that I am a Shabak soldier, undercover soldier. I'm 40 years old. They didn't believe me that I'm 40 years old. I'm not married. I don't have children. That's a classic Shabak soldier story. So they didn't believe a word came out from my mouth. And when they discovered that I'm half Moroccan and half Egyptian, they called me an Arab that betrayed her culture. Fighting in things that you cannot fight, that's very, very difficult. Very difficult. But Itai tried to help me every single day, every single moment that he could. At one point, Itai came back into the room, he looked at me, tried to stay calm and said, I promise you that when I'll get home, I'll fight for you. I looked at him and said, I'm staying here. He said, they said that even if there will be a ceasefire, you're not going home. But I promise you I'll fight for you. Every single day they came to me to say that nobody's looking for me. Nobody knows that I'm in Gaza, that I will not go back home, not me. They can sell me, they can get me married with somebody else, they can run me over to Egypt, they can do many things. I was starting to accept that in my head at one point. Eventually, 2 weeks after I was released, Itai was murdered with a gunshot to the head. Itai was really, really polite. He obeyed them. He did whatever they asked him to do. And I don't know till today what happened on his last moment. And I failed to bring him back home. So I'm taking him with me to every place I go to. Eventually, they chose me out of the 2 hostages left in that house, against all odds, against everything you can imagine. After they fooled me 4 times that I'm going home, they finally chose to take me from that house to the last facility. I really didn't know that that's the last place. I really thought that this is the end. There I met 8 other hostages. And then they asked me to guard the boys that was there, to guide them what to say in the videos that you saw, what to say, how to beg, lies. We did everything. We really tried to stay calm and polite till the last second. Not talking about pain, no speaking about nothing that we went through during the way. We just waited for that second of freedom. Eventually, we saw the Red Cross jeeps, and we went on those jeeps. And I got that first conversation, that first call of a soldier from Israel, from the IDF, asking me, "Are you guys okay?" And I'm saying, "Yes, I'm going through one after another in the car. Everybody's healthy, I'm injured." "How long is it?" He said, 30 minutes. I said, "Okay." When I said that everybody's okay, I took my last second. I looked to the back. I even covered my face that nobody will see. I saw Gaza is going away from me. I took a small smile, and I realized that I won. I won everything. I managed to beat all limited thoughts in my head, no matter how limited it was physically. I managed to break every single word they tried to stick in me, trusting and believing who am I as a person. I managed to break all odds by feeling that something protected me 24/7. And coming out after, hearing all the hostages' testimonies, all of us are using the same words. There was something sitting next to us, covering us, holding us, making us breathe every single day. And I won. And I really thought that, the gap between my captivity to my freedom is something big. It's gonna be a huge wall, it's gonna be a huge deal, Because otherwise, how come I stayed here for so long? It was an iron door, a small door separating me from my freedom eventually. Somebody came, opened that door and said, "You're free." At that point, one of the boys, he saw me from across the room. We always ask if it's allowed, if we are in the right place. And at one point, he looked at me. He screamed my name from the back of the room, like in the movie Stela, if you saw it. Ran towards me. We hugged because we were allowed. We were not allowed to hug. It was my last fear, to die without a last hug. Last touch, love. We cried because it was allowed. We were allowed to express our emotions. We were free. We still had to learn everything all over again. All over again. I literally needed to learn how to walk again. We learned how to open the tap of water again, to get a shower again. And it was only 2 months. But think about what happened after 2 years. But I also want you to remember Everybody called us heroes when when we came out. And I know that somebody said in my head that there is a war. I'm a soldier in a war. I'll do whatever I need to finish it up. That's why I discovered that my left leg was broken only after a year. I came out with many, many conclusions and many insights. And you know what? Today, for me, it's a different lecture because now all the living are back home. Now I don't need to feel really bad when I'm eating, drinking, going to a shower, walking in the street, wearing nice clothes, comfort clothes. Again, that's nothing. We still need to deal with our mental. So I can speak in front 40,000 people, easy, any second. But when I'm coming back home to fix my dinner, that's a little bit harder. So we still learn how to cope with everything in life. You know, at the beginning, I'm going to share something new with you. At the beginning, I was afraid to speak about my faith because I was afraid to be judged. I was afraid that if I will say that that's the thing that helped me cope with everything during captivity, that somebody will judge me and say, oh, she met fear and that's why. It's not. I'm enough aware to know that my Hashem, my God, He prepared me really, really good. For 10 years, I watched all the documentaries you can think of, hostages, wars, fights, crazy leaders, how to react in situations. He also taught me faith during the way, and it took a while because I came from a religious house and I did my first I'm not talking to you when I was 36 because I couldn't understand why. When I came back to my habits, to lighting candles, to fasting Yom Kippur, it happened before October 7 because I understood why I'm doing those things. I understood the intention that I'm putting those things. You need to know what you're doing when you're doing. You need to put the right weight of attention into it. So when I was in captivity, I had a small prayer that I remembered. And I repeated it again and again and again, over and over again. That right before I came back to the world of the Torah, I was in the Buddhism world, which teaches you like practical practice. But there was a person that came and showed me that everything is basically in the Torah, and the Torah was the first one to go. So all this practice, all our questions, all our resistance, we can find those answers in there. When I repeated that prayer over and over and over again, finally, I listened to the words, what it means, what I say. I say, please give us, be mercy to us. Please judge us in the right way. Please give us the strength to be free. Give me the option to raise children and good children with good values. And please give me the strength to keep this light going on every single day. Because, you know, you can see the world in a box. It's very easy. And this box can be 90% of darkness and just 10% of a light. But you can choose to switch it in a second, and it will be 90% of light, 10% of darkness. I'm sending you with one thing from me today. I don't want to, because I see that there are many young children in the crowd, so I want to send you with a purpose now. I want you to remember, maybe it's your mother that you see every morning, but make sure that you're the first person you see every morning in the mirror, every single morning. Think that what extra value do you give yourself today? There are many likes and dislikes in life, and it's okay, it's fine. You're allowed to be humans. I'm allowed to be human. But we also need to remember what we are leaving the house with in our hand. What do we give to this world? You know, we got presents. This Bible, this is a book of codes that's supposed to give us good life. Be lazy to fight, lazy to wars. But be strong enough to be kind to one another. We have our 10 commands, There is one specific command that is much, much more important than any of them. That's Adam lechavero, that's a man to his friend. I promise you that people can come to us during a day. They can scream, they can yell, they can say bad things. That's fine. That's only a person that wants that somebody will see him. You can listen up till the end, and when this person will finish up screaming, ask him, I heard you. Can you listen to me now? That's all about communication, and it's all about letting our ego down. It's all about awareness, and it's all about how you want your future will look like. So I know we are losing a little bit, and that's the extra thing that I want to ask only from the young people. We are old, we're doing enough. But you going on to social media, okay? We are losing in the explanation of Israel. We are losing in front of the world to show why we are like that. What is Judaism? What is our culture? You know, when a person sees me today and he see a person, a kid or a person from Gaza, then it's very easy to feel sorry about that person, right? Because that's what we do, we see. But what happens if you tell that person that looks at those two pictures and say, I can stand here because my people will not let me fall. Now, I'm wearing these clothes because my mother is protecting me and she wants me to leave. When I see videos from Gaza, I see mothers that are being proud that their children are being killed. That's how they spoke to us every single day. That's the difference between the Jewish people and between them. We want to live. We like to live. We celebrate life. And that's how I want you guys to be. Be different. Everybody can say everything. Look at the history of the Jewish people. It doesn't matter what happened to us. We were strong enough to continue to rebuild and regrow. Now it's your responsibility as much as it's mine. But for you, it starts now. Because in 20 years, you're going to be the leaders of this place. So think what you're going to do with it. I want to congratulate you all for being my new ambassadors to my story. Think wise what you do with it. It's not talking about pain. It's not talking about frustration. It's talking about faith, values, mind over body. I want to share with you my last moment because I really like to finish up with some laughter and some faith. And then I'm going to say the last thing.
Moran.
Well, meet my mother. She had to see that her entire girl came back to be free, to be home. You can allow yourself to laugh. That was a happy moment. And I want to finish up with one last thing. there is another name that I promise to take with me to any place I go to, and that name is Carmel Gat. Carmel was 40 years old when she was a hostage. She is a replica of me. I'm a replica of her in the way we lived before, that we saved animals, even how we acted in captivity. She was guarded on the girls that was with her. She was the communicator. We did everything the same. I got the chance to meet her brothers, and I don't know how to explain, but there were names of hostages that I was for sure that they will come back home. Carmel, unfortunately, will not come back home, and she was murdered. She and another 5 beautiful angels was murdered in Gaza in the tunnels. One of them was Hirsch Golden Polin, if you know him. But Carmel, she will never go back home. And we couldn't explain till today why I was being released and she wasn't. And I get to stay with this question for my rest of my life. Why me and not her? What's the difference? So instead of asking why, I remind you the what for. And I promise her that I'll do my best every single day. Even if my best today is taking my right foot out of bed, then I will manage to get out from the house today. I'll do my best because she didn't went through what she went through for nothing. We didn't went through what they went through for nothing. They did it for us. They did it for all human beings. So I will do my best for them. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Moran. Wow. Goosebumps. First of all, I want to thank you. I think I speak on behalf of the room here for not just sharing your story, but sharing also your faith with us, what kept you going, what, like you said, ultimately made you win. You won and they lost. We have some questions that came in for you. Obviously, time will probably not permit us to handle them all, but we'll do the best we can. And I want to encourage you all, you can still send them as we are speaking. Question number 1 is, since returning home, what has helped you heal the most spiritually or emotionally?
Obviously, being grateful for the situation that I'm here. I can speak about myself saying that I'm a walking miracle, literally, physically. On the other hand, like I said, this is a war. I know how to be a soldier. So I got up every single day because, first of all, I have to. I have to help my people and I have to help my friends that stayed in captivity. But I also know that right before every speak I'm taking, I have this small child moment that I'm saying, why am I still doing it? I don't want to, You can go to the beach, you can go to a vacation, you can do whatever you want. I didn't take a vacation till today. You can do whatever you want. But I say I can't, because I'm also terrified to know literally that they will grow up in a country. I know, I visited 18 different countries in the past 2 years. Some of the places I was not speaking Hebrew in the street. Some of the places I found myself covering my necklaces, I don't want to be that person. I was hiding so much. I was hiding for 54 days, and for me, it's a lifetime. I'm not going to do it again. So I know that no matter how hard it is for me, at some point, when I hold this microphone, when I see the faces, when I hear the silent, He gives me the strength. I'm just a vessel. This is shlichut. This is the biggest shlichut of my life, Again, I went through what I went through because I really believe that every person got his weight to deal with. If I had the power to deal with it, then now I need to share it with the people because it must not happen again, ever, 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 ever again.
Thank you. Another question. Were you kept by official Hamas terrorists or in the homes of civilians?
So no, funny fact about that. I was held by only Hamas terrorists, and During my entire captivity, it was about 50 Hamas terrorists eventually. But they held us in families' houses, because I had 5 different houses that I went to. In every house, I saw if there is a child in the house, who is the adult, who is the woman. You see it. You see it, the clothes, you see the toys, you see everything. So I always start trying to make a conversation with the terrorists, asking them, say, who's this house belong to? And they say, to a family. So there is a child in here, huh? He says, yes. Clothes of who am I wearing? He says, the woman of the house. So I say, so you took their clothes, you took their toys, you took their safe house, you took the rest of the food they have in the house, and you send them away. What's the difference between me and you? I mean, what's the difference between your agenda that you're speaking about taking your houses back from the Israel, but doing that to your own civilians? And then he said, oh, it's different. That's the answer of a brainwash that doesn't really understand the situation fully till the end, you know?
Thank you. That's very eye-opening, I think, for a lot of people who may not understand what it meant to be held, but you're in a family home and you see, like you said, children, you see personal effects running around the house. It's not a prison like some other people think. It's sort of civilian infrastructure. We have another question here.
I just want to be accurate to the word prison. You know, we had to deal with it. Because at one point, at one house that I came to, some hostage called me the problematic case. And I told her, why am I problematic? And she said, because you're not thinking as a prisoner. And I said in my head, but I'm not in prison. In prison, I have, rights. I can do things. I'm not in prison. I'm a hostage civilian. That's a different thing, and that's why I acted differently to the situation, because I'm not a prisoner. Prisoners have rights. That's the difference.
So I'll piggyback on what you just said. Did you have any sense of time, and how so, as you were imprisoned or hostage?
So obviously we didn't have a clock. We didn't know what day is today, but we did count it from the first day. And at one point, I divided our assignments to the room. So the girl had to count the days because it was too much for me to know that another day and another day and another day passed. I was the responsible on eavesdrop, the other room, and try to rebuild something, because at one point they sealed the windows. So we don't really see the sun. We see like small amount of light, And, I had something really important to say about that.
Tracking time?
No. And you asked me how we knew. In time, we used the sounds from the outside to build some kind of a clock, Because we knew that the little girls, they go up in the morning, like really early in the morning. And then the donkey with that screams about potatoes, we know he comes in the early morning because that's the only time they sell food, And we know that they have 5 prayers a day, so we know what time is the prayer. So at one point, we managed to build a little bit by the noises of the outside.
Understood. That's probably not very accurate, but I'm sure it helped you guys figure out a little bit of what was going on. What would you say to those who support the pro-Palestine side screaming ethnic cleansing or genocide or apartheid after what you've experienced?
I'll say on one hand, it's very difficult to answer that question without breaking it into answers. Because at one point, ignorance. Really, 90% of the pro-Palestinians doesn't know what they are proing on. Let's say the gay people of Palestine, okay? The gay for Palestine, that's the hilarious, biggest joke ever, because all of us, if not all of us, like the ones that had, gay in captivity had to heed it, really, 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 really heed it so they will not find it, because if they will find it out, they will kill them in a second. So when a gay comes and say gay to Palestine, no problem. If you can stand there more than a minute and stay alive, feel free to pro. But you cannot pro different agenda. They don't accept it, period. If you come to Tel Aviv, if you come to Israel, nobody judges you. You can be whoever you want, right? Okay, so that's the one thing. I'll say also, I can understand empathy to the situation. Because as a person doesn't know what is happening, I'm being empathized when I see a starved child. I was amplified when I heard gunshots outside and screaming children. It hurt me because I don't want it to happen to no one. Everybody's trying to separate in. That's the thing. They say we protect about the weakest group, but what about the weakest group doesn't want to learn how to be powerful or how to become better? What you do then? Don't you want to try to communicate and close the gaps, or do you want to leave it aside? Think about how do you say mishtalem? Worth.
Rewarding.
It was much worthy to them to push that Gaza group aside and to show it as poor civilians when they starve us every single day. They were violent to us every single day. They tried to shatter our hope every single day. And they did it to their civilian as well, because they were not skinny, not the terrorists, not the Hamas. They were fine. So when you advocate for something like that, I want you to know what you're advocating for. When women advocating for Palestine, fine, come, show me your rights. If you have a decency to advocate, like real pure smartism, if you want to say, to the one thing that you're advocating for, fine, I'm with you. I can find the I can find the reason. But when it's stupid, when it's ignorant, that scares me. That's why everybody needs to be renew education, like tons of it.
So educate yourself. I think us being here tonight is a form of doing that, hearing a firsthand account. I think it's eye-opening, I think for many, it certainly is for me. What do you make of the psychological torture that they were telling you that no one's coming for you, no one cares for? Why do you think they did that?
First of all, it's much easier. I mean, we're puppets. They don't want to give us the faith that we'll go back home, you know? They want us to suffer. They really believe that they need to torture us. So at one point, I can share that I had a moment, they did almost manage to do it. They almost managed to make me believe in what they're saying. They almost managed to make me believe that I will not go back home. They even one time, when one of the hostages came into the room and she said something about this soldier thing again, I was confused. I looked at her and I said, you know what? Maybe I'm a soldier, I'm not remembering. And then she gave me the face of, are you crazy? And then I said, no, maybe somebody forgot to take me out from the system or something. I mean, I'm going nuts. How to fight this thing, you know? I don't know how to explain, no.
Wow, that's crazy. They almost got into your head.
Yeah, it almost happened. But eventually, I know that I really was protected when I was praying repeatedly, but severely, repeatedly, and understanding what I'm saying. When that happened, I cannot even explain how much miracles happened to me during captivity. Regarding food, regarding medicine. You don't understand the physical situation. That was bad. It was really bad. Making it through without feeling pain, without remembering the pain of it, that's magic for me, you know? Because it gave me the amount of strength to deal with all the mental situation that we had there. And therefore, that's why I didn't came out with no revenge, no anger. I don't want to hurt no one, period.
Thank you. And I think this is actually a great one to wrap things up on. What message would you share with Jews outside of Israel, especially students here, about how we can stand with Israel now that the war is over?
So I think I already said it in the end of my lecture. I literally sent them with an assignment. I want you to share what is the Jewish people. I want you to show the kindness of these Jewish people, what our culture means. People in the world are not aware of who we are as people. Many places in the world have restrictions, severe restrictions, that Israel allows people to live how they want to live, to be who they want to be. But I also want you to show the Judaism. What is faith to us? What it looks like? What is it helping to us? What our prayer means? What the word means? Show it in a good way. There is lots of modern ways to show it. So that's the one thing that I really want you students to do. And also, I want you to remember again, it only starts with you. And I know many people say, how much of a change can one person do? Tons of it, tons. If each and every one will take care of his own environment, then the world will look like very much different. I'll share with you that I was going through a boycott when I was 11. And all of my school rejected me because I was taller, I was skinnier, and I didn't develop like everybody else. I'm sure you met it during the way. That's the thing I'm talking about. I'm sorry, but that's bullshit. That's nothing. Be kinder, it's much nicer. I took a walk a few days ago, and I didn't have energy. And I said, I need to walk. And I took me and my small camera, just walking and watching the water, watching the trees. And then it was in Pittsford, so not that much people, but then people started to come, little, one after another. And then the first person smiled at me and said, good morning, and I smiled at him back. After a few minutes, another person came by and he said good morning, and I smiled at him back. And then another few minutes go by and another person came by and I smiled at him, and I was already happy, so I said good morning back. At one point, my energy was that in here. It's much easier. I don't need to know that person. He doesn't need to know me. But the fact that we are crossing each other, at that second, we share the same energy. And energy is not something you can touch. And it's all over. We can all agree that it exists, but we cannot see it. We are part of it. Think about it. Explore it. Show who we are. That's my biggest request. Don't let it go for nothing.
Thank you, Moran. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much.